Well, and it's what your audience wants in your community. Lamborghini started as tractors. What happened? Conversations, meeting with people, he realized, oh my God, well, why don't we go this direction? Go look at people that have done it before you. I'm going to be honest, there's no playbook. When you look at a founder's journey, it is so unique. Being a builder and doing things for yourself, it is your journey. There is no playbook. It's whatever you feel good about doing and locking in on that. But also being willing to put the ego aside.
Here with another episode of the Founders Growth Show. We have on the show today a good friend of mine, Tom Slocum. Tom is the founder of the SD Lab. He is another sales nerd, and we've known each other for a couple of years, and it's been interesting to kind of hang out and talk to each other on our paths. And he's a really great person to have on the show and kind of talk about some of the challenges and some of the things you're going to run into, because just like everybody else, there's a lot more hats that he's had to figure out than he thought whenever he started. Tom, can you talk a little bit about the SD Lab and kind of the work that you do? And if you want to talk a little bit about maybe some of the other work that you've maybe tried to do or done for clients on your path and maybe decided to move away from, we'd love to kind of have that kind of dime store tour of how you started and the work you're doing now.
Yeah, of course. The SD Lab stands for the Sales Development Lab, right? I'm an 18-year sales vet, made 500,000 cold calls plus, right? And built and scaled some teams. And in 2022, I had the opportunity to jump into my own company. And speaking of, in a few days, it will be my 3-year anniversary doing this whole thing, right?
Congratulations.
And thanks, man. It's crazy. It's been a ride, and we're going to unpack that, right? But it was birthed because after COVID and 15 years in the game, one of the things I realized is founders and organizations still didn't really master top of funnel. They didn't understand the power of that engine. And with the chaos of AI and remote work, it kind of just got all just blown up from what I knew it to be. And so I dove in with the intent to help organizations book 20 to 30% more meetings than prior to working with me. That's all I want to do. Help them refine their sales motion. I come in, I coach and work with their teams, and I help them on the leadership side with competitions, processes, tech adjustments, and audits, right? To where ideally, their reps are booking 1 to 2 extra meetings a week and finding success and a repeatable motion that does work and that they can add fuel to the fire and see that success, right? But took a long time to get there. As you said, jumping in 2022, it took me, I would say 90 days to get my first client. That was one of the hardest pieces. It's not just sunshines and rainbows right out the gates. It can be for some. Some of you listening, hey man, you got clients before you even launched. That's great. People have done that. I had just wrapped a VP of sales job. I didn't have any direction. And thanks to my community and support from friends and family, it was time, right? They were like, dive in, go do this. Yeah. So it took 90 days, even for an outbound guy. Luckily, I had that skill. As founders, I've realized a lot don't have the selling skill. And that sucks because they have great products. They have great engines that they're trying to put to the ground. They just don't know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. I have 18 years of doing it. I've been touching over 40 organizations in 3 years. I've worked with 3,000, 3,500 reps in 5 years, plus my own career before that and working with teams. And like I said, I built 4, right? From 0 up to 30 in SDR motions. And so I just wanted to give back. I wanted to help take that learning curve. But took about 90 days to get that first client. Then things started going all right for that first year. Lot of mess ups, a lot of mistakes that we'll unpack. Financing, invoicing, processes, refining my offer, right? Going through all of that. But then at the end of year 1, things kind of took a shift. A friend of mine wanted to come in and join the ship and was like, hey, let's partner up. He was running his own type of thing as well. Wasn't really getting off the ground. So he was like, let's join forces. We did that. For 2 years, we went into outsourced lead gen. I know, the coaching guy, where does this come from? Well, all the clients I was talking to and the prospects I was talking to, guess what? In the founder world, they want you to do it for them. Shocker.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, I love it, Tom, but can you do it for us? I'm like, all right, cool. Let's go do that. So my partner came in and was like, hey, let's do this, right? And so let's just give it a shot. I fought it for the first year. I referred it out. My business partner and coach was kind of like, hey, do it. Just why not? So we did outsource lead gen for 2 years, and there's a lot to unpack in that 2-year frame. We worked with about 30 clients there in that 2-year run. Things were great. A lot of learnings, a lot of mistakes, a lot of dialing in systems, but we ultimately got it working pretty damn well. We had clients up to 10 months, 7 months, 6 months. We were good. We were repeatable. And it was kind of a good sale. The problem was it leaned very heavy on referrals and like renewals. It really was very hard to go get net new business. And that for me was because I overthought it. Again, being an outbound guy, I would get critiqued on my messaging, right? That's how I felt. If again, I'm going to tell a company how I want to help them get more meetings, they're going to look at my cold email, my cold call. They're going to be like, well, what are you doing? Yeah. And it wasn't apples to apples. I had to run my company a little bit different way than what I would do for your product and service, right? But it was hard to convey that. Yeah. They don't get it. It was just tough. And then people wanted a Ferrari with Honda pricing, right? Yep. They were, and just so many learnings there. But I wanted to do outsource lead gen the right way. I wasn't an appointment setter. We were booking actual sales opportunities. I had a little squad. Things were great. And then in July of this year, 2025, it kind of blew up. Things kind of slowed down. Team kind of started separating on me, going other ways. Things weren't really clicking. And I went through personal growth. As of July 8th, I made a shift in my life. And I really got serious about what's the next 3 years look like for my business. And somebody said to me at a dinner, one thing that changed their life was their decision-making process of actually putting it through a filter. I'm too emotional. I look at every decision on its own entity. But what he was doing was looking at it through like a scoring card or a filter to take out the emotional pull from it. So it was based on high energy, high impact, we're all in. Low energy, low impact, not in. Yeah. And kind of this 4 system of energy and impact and kind of figuring out what to do from there and pacing it through that. I don't know why or what, but it stuck with me. So I shut down outsource lead gen in July. I said, look, we're wrapping up our last few clients. Pipeline is kind of getting dry now. And team's kind of falling apart. Let's be real. It's just not really where we want it to be. Sure. I'm done. I'm out. So I took that step and I sunsetted it. And I moved completely back into what I launched the company around, which was being a problem solver, being a coach, finding my high impact, high energy place to be, and go back to that grind and kind of working with organizations. And they already have a team. They already have a process. It's just broken. It's 5 to 15 SDRs. Things are all a mess. They're maybe booking, maybe some are winning, some aren't. SDR managers kind of figuring it out. And what I found is a lot of junior managers right now. We're in this shift, right? You know it. You see it, John. Like, I'm talking to people that have been in the role for 6 months, 9 months, less than a year. And I'm going on calls with them and they're using all this new tech and these reps are suffering on the tech. I do like a little like Q&A or a walkthrough with them on a call. I unlock 2 things for them and they're like, oh my God, that's why our connect rates were so bad. I'm like, yeah, you just got to click that button. Well, I didn't know that. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I talked to the boss and they're like, dude, I didn't have these tools when I was a rep, right? I just bought it. I set them up and I'm hoping they tell me what they need. I don't know. Yeah. And the onboarding for most of these products is the most boring stuff to ever go through. They're not tangible workflows. They're not building with you in real time. It's just different, right? I've seen this cycle. And so now here I am coaching these teams to book 20 to 30% more meetings, all through hands-on coaching. I do it a lot different too. The way I got here and with the coachings I've done, it's because I'm different. Back in 2018, 2019, you could get away with an hour training and make $10,000, which was wild. Wild. I wasn't part of that cycle, but there were people that were just printing paper, just running in for 60 minutes and then dipping out, right? Yeah. And it burned kind of the coaching industry a little bit in B2B, right? 100%. What I've decided to do and what's so refreshing for people is I do 2-hour workshops. Okay. So every week we get together with the squad and 1 hour is theory. Frameworks, discussion, open discussion. We're talking about the methodology or the framework or the formula, right? And then we break for 10 minutes. Get your water, take a minute. 60 minutes is a good chunk of change to be talking and conversating. These aren't deck slides like that, but it's conversation, getting the group to collaborate. We come back from water And then we jump into a 45-minute group exercise. We break out into breakout rooms.
Yeah.
I bring an exercise, and they're literally doing it on that call together as a crew. The manager's popping around in rooms with me, and they're working on that methodology or framework and applying it in real time to what they already do. And so let's say we do cold email. I'll run theory, best practices. We dive into it. We talk with the group. We break. We come back. They're literally going to write the emails right there and hit send before the session is even over. So now they have fresh emails to test and go after. And so in real time, it's like, yeah, we're taking 2 hours, but we're working together in real time. It's not 2 hours of listening to me or just sitting here wasting time at a webinar. We're in the lab. We're in the lab. We're working together. And what comes from that is so incredible that you see collaboration in the team. Half the time, I'm just a facilitator, dude, to be dead honest.
Yeah.
It's and that's how it should be. There's no ego. There's nothing about doing what's right, what's wrong. I'm not saying one way is better than the other. I'm a non-permission based opener guy. You know this.
Yep.
I don't do that. But if that's your style, to do a permission-based opener, and the data says that it works for you, man, dive in. Let's frame it then differently, using what I think is a better way to structure it, or work together to make sure it hits even better. But let's right into it. I'm not going to tell you, no, you shut that stuff down right now. You have to use this framework for the next 5 days, and you need to tell me what the data says. I'm not doing all that.
Yeah.
It's a collaboration. And when you start talking as one another, it's so crazy because they're all on 4 walls, remote. And man, we'll do live calls or live role plays, and the team will be like, John, I didn't know you said that on a call. That's epic. You say that? And it's like, oh yeah, that's what I do. And it's like, dude, we've never heard you. I didn't know. And then the whole team now goes and use that, and they actually win from their own team sharing an insight than me and what I shared.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, dude, great session, Tom, but yo, did you see what John said? John blew up the whole room. And then they start collaborating, and partnering together. And then in the group exercises, it's cool to watch how people think. You think everybody's doing research the same way. They're not.
They're not.
Give them one prospect. Me and John could take a prospect right now. You throw us a prospect up, give us 5 minutes, and we will both come back with different perspectives and views on how we would approach that prospect.
Yeah.
Right? Which is crazy. We're looking at the exact same profile and things, but we will come away with 2 different lanes to go in because 100%. Of how we think. And so then you come together and find the best version of that. And now you have an email written for all 5 of you as a group to now send to your prospects that you collectively believe in and got to write and then learn. Oh, I love that CTA you said, John. I didn't even think about that. Or, oh, I love the point you made, John, about the way that they just launched funding last month and how you kind of tied that in. And now they're collaborating. Then we come back for 15 minutes. We debrief. And I'm telling you, man, after 8 to 12 weeks together and going through all these different formulas and structure, man, they're booking 20 to 30% more meetings. I had one, the client came into me, Q2, they hit 50% to quota as their squad. Not great. We know, we've all been there. Yeah. Been there. It's Q2. Okay, we can bounce back from this, right? It's 50%. We're all right. This ain't Q4, hopefully. So CMO reaches out to me through DMs on LinkedIn. Hey, come in. I was like, okay, cool. Let's talk about it. I get with the SDR program lead, which is like their director, and the one SDR manager they had. They had a 15-person squad. Okay. Go through the whole cycle, buying cycle, get through the SDR program lead, the manager, CMOs kind of just handed it off, right? He's just going to sign the paperwork if they're bought in. They finally decide to go right around August. So right in middle of Q3 kind of period or start of Q3. So it took a little while. This happened in like February and March. Again, for founders, deal cycles take time, guys, and be patient, 100%. Right? And it sucks. We need money to pay bills tomorrow. But you can't let prospects feel that. And that's why it's important to constantly be having pipeline, right? And find many levers to make money off of people. This is going to sound bad, so I hope I can explain this. But what I've really discovered and locked into is anybody I meet with, even for 5 minutes, 15, 30, an hour, discovery call, sales process, whatever it may be, how in a way can I make it worth the time? Like, can I make $1 off of it? And it sounds bad, and I'm sorry, guys, if it's that, but it's like, okay, John, me and you meet for 30 minutes. It's not going to be a $20,000 deal. It's not going to be this, but I have something of value to you for even $5, $10, $500 hour gets moved from that 15-minute call we had. I can now put you in at 500. There's levers for no matter who you're meeting with in their journey and the buying cycle that they're in. There's a way to make money with them. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Like,
You know?
it is one of those things to where I think someone who's not paying attention or listening critically is probably going to hear that badly, but here's how I talk about it with different people. Being solution focused versus being product focused, right? And we talk about this as salespeople, right? Now, what happens is that when you're new, you probably only really have one way to help everybody, and so you kind of end up being kind of product focused, right? But if you're really where I think people get stuck is they're not talking to enough people, right? They're kind of detached from the audience.
That's it.
They're not talking to people. And so then what happens is they're all trying to sell people that one offer, right? It's not working because they don't really know how to sell in that kind of capacity. And what happens is okay, well, I got to hire someone who can make them say yes to this thing, as opposed to spending enough time and maybe even talking to them before you start to go build something, which I know is a very radical thought for most founders these days. You know?
Wait, you build something they actually want, not what you're thinking?
Right.
Whoa.
And then it's like, hey, you don't need all this crazy sales training whenever you have something that people are actually excited about because you took their notes from them and actually built the thing that they want, you know?
That's it. And
so,
you find the levers, right? Like,
exactly.
And that could be free too. What I'm working on right now for 2026 is a enriched website that no matter what part of the journey you are in or role, you're going to have a library. So you're a founder, you come to the SD Lab and you're a founder. I may not be able to help you or be within the price range that you can commit to, right? But I can nickel and dime you in ways to help evolve with you and help you grow to where eventually you do become a 20K client. So I'm going to have a founder's portal, and in there it's going to say, can you hear me okay? The audio. Oh, you're muted. I see. There you go. Yeah, you're on mute. Go. That's what it is. Threw me off. Hopefully we can chop that out. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we can edit that part out. My fault.
Some fun tech of it. But it's like if you're a founder and you come to the SD Lab, there's guides for you, ebooks, courses, newsletter. There's ways that I can capture your URL to LinkedIn or your email. Both are super valuable for me. That's a dollar value in essence, because now you're in my funnel. You're in my ecosystem. And ideally, you're downloading content. You're engaging in things. You start at a free e-guide. Great. That converts you into a $50 course person or a $500 course. Great. Now you're spending $2,500 to get 4 hours with me to coach on right? But there's layers to you that no matter who's hitting my website or coming into my funnel, they are walking away in my ecosystem in some way and capacity. So that way, my pipeline is always moving. I always have a database enriched of people that have wanted help and literally come to me or found me, right? Why let those people go? And why worry about a one big deal or, like you said, the one flagship? Have your flagship product always. But the more conversations you have, the more times that you're talking to 5 to 10, for me, I'm talking to 5 to 10 SDRs, leaders a week, right? 15, 20 discovery calls a month. I learn where they're at. Why are they saying no to me? Tom, I can't put this 20K program together, but I have 3 reps starting next week. What could you do for me? What if I was an asshole and said no? Nope, my 20K is all I got for you. That's it. If you can't do that, I wish you the best of luck. Now I lost that person, right? Well, but instead I can say, hey,
we've also lost this unique ability to like kind of haggle, right, with people, right? Because a lot of people are kind of concerned, right? Because like in that mode of like, okay, you know, I don't really need the $20,000 package. Okay, well, do you want to sit down and talk about it? Whoa, you're just trying to sell me? It's like, I'm trying to help you, right?
That's it.
And that's honestly what this show is for. That's what my book is for, right? And it's funny because I think you can hold it the way that you are of like, okay, but really what you're doing is you're aligning your sales process with their buyer's journey, and you're meeting them with what they need in the moment, right? Because sometimes the book is enough, and that's okay. Sometimes Sales Practice Lab is all you need. Sometimes you really need the full John, but let's make sure that you really need that, because I'm not trying to talk you into it. I don't want to sell you up to a higher level of engagement than you think that you need. Yep. Now, what happens is that when you're new, you don't know about those lower levels of engagement, right? So you're probably swinging badly at it, you know, but if you're not having those conversations and kind of running into that wall a little bit of like, oh, this isn't what you wanted. No, I don't need this at all. Okay, what do you need? Now, a lot of people are going to shut down. They're going to feel uncomfortable. They're going to feel like, oh my God, this is going to get me sold. But occasionally I just need this. Oh, and
Yeah.
then we have the opportunity, right? Because, you can sit in that stream and you hear, well, I just want you to do lead gen for me. I just want you to do lead gen for me. I just want you to do it, right? And that's where volume component and knowing what's important to you, like, really matters. Because I did a version of this when I started, right?
Yeah.
I had a great local network. And I was like, you know what? I'll just go network for other people who are too busy to do it. They'll get the list of everyone I meet. And then I read the E-Myth, right? And it was like, don't build a business tied to only a thing that you can do. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. I don't want to do that. So I just ran off and I fired all those clients, right?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have revenue. I didn't have all this other stuff lined up and everything. I just didn't want to build it badly. So I went and I closed down that part of business, right? It was pretty solid revenue. People were happy with it. And so it's so wild how we can, like, okay, cool, we're going in this. Oh, wait, that's not the direction for me. That's not what I want to be known for.
Well, and it's what your audience wants in your community, right? It's being aware and tapped into your ecosystem. I mean, shit, I tell everybody all the time, Lamborghini started as tractors. What happened? Conversations, meeting with people, he realized, oh my God, well, why don't we go this direction? What if he had been stubborn and just...
as tractors? I don't know the story.
Oh yeah, they started on building tractors and being equipment for farming, and then the engine power, and correct me, audience, they'll chop me up, I don't know the whole thing, but apparently the engine components or whatever in those tractors was enough to power, like, and become a luxury thing. And so Lamborghini was born from originally being tractors in the field.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy smokes. I must go research this. This is fascinating. Thank you. That's so rad.
When you're in the founder journey, one thing I can say is go look at people that have done it before you. I'm going to be honest. There's no playbook. There's no playbook. Every playbook is different. Every founder journey, I could talk to 8 founders a week and I will tell you everybody is in a different phase, 100%. Different journey. There's personal journey involved in this. There is discipline. Yeah. There's a lot. But there isn't like a Bible or say for like, hey, you want to launch a business and build 100 million in the next 5 years? Here's exactly, if you follow this, you're good. There's playbooks for being an SDR and salespeople and go be a CEO. But when you look at a founder's journey, it is so unique. Being a builder. Being a builder and doing things for yourself, it is your journey. There is no playbook. It's whatever you feel good about doing and locking in on that. But also being willing to put the ego aside. Be humble in interactions with people and be genuinely curious, because you may go into the market with one thing. I went in with one thing. I thought it was this. If I didn't listen, and I didn't, for a year I fought it and I struggled to get the clients I needed. Mm-hmm. And in the moment I said, okay, this is what you're asking for. Why not? What do I have to lose? This is the beauty of being a founder. Nobody gets to tell me what I can and can't do. It's up to me.
Yeah, right? Sometimes that screws you.
It does. There's reasons that backfires. Mm-hmm. But that's what I did. I said, okay, I'm done fighting. And I made money right away. Things were a little bit easier. But as time went on, I did get sucked out of it. There's a blend of doing what your market wants, but also doing what feels good to you.
Oh, man.
If that isn't aligned, then don't go do that. Like, I did the outsource lead gen thing. I was talking to the right targets and people. I fought it for the first year. I couldn't not listen anymore. I feel it was a part of my founder journey in the first place, that 2-year run, because it's molding me for what's coming next. So it wasn't a loss. It wasn't that I didn't do well. I could keep that engine running. Shit. Yeah. Dude, I sunsetted in July. I gotta revamp my website. It still says I do it. I have to get in there and do it. Again, wearing multiple hats and focusing on what's priority. Yep. I gotta get it off the site. But 48 hours now, I've had 4 requests for the service out of nowhere, right? So it's like, I could still do it. I could still run it. I have the playbook, but it didn't fulfill me. It just didn't. And I didn't want to be known for that. Like you said in the beginning, I didn't want to be known for that. Going back to the story I got lost in, if this one client with this SDR team, right? This is why I love what I do, because they were at 50%. I came in, we worked together for 12 weeks. So all of Q3, they walked out of Q3 at 81% to quota and only missed 100 because $1 million deal didn't cross over the finish line for them. But as far as the squad itself, they finished at 81%. Then post-engagement, because again, this is evergreen content. They get a workbook. They're working through these exercises. This is principles that move forward with them. Yep. They hit 92% in Q4. And 3 of those SDRs I trained got promoted to commercial AEs, which is the biggest role in the company on the sales squad.
Awesome.
And I got great testimonials from the SDR program lead and the 2 SDR managers. They even brought in a second SDR manager during our run because things started working pretty well and kind of going in the right direction. And one SDR manager over 15, they were due another manager, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But we talked every week. We ran through these 2-hour workshops. The group was so collaborative. We had competitions throughout to get that adoption and in play, right? Of like, okay, we're going to send LinkedIn voice notes this week. And they were like, what? I was like, yep, you're going to rip some voice notes. Yes. Here's a framework. Here's an idea and a guide for you, but we're going to create them in class now. And then we're going to go deploy them. And then the managers backed me up and we did a competition. One of their most biggest activity weeks on LinkedIn they had ever had, and the team booked like 32 meetings just in that next week from those voice notes, right? And kind of changed their behavior. Yeah. Another thing, they dove into cold calling. They weren't a cold calling team. I got them onto Nooks and showing them bullpens and like sales floor stuff. And then we just said, let's just set 2 call blocks up, 2 blitzes up next week and use this framework, get together, build your list prior to the session. Let's go in. Dude, they did that. It was one of their highest activity dates in activity on calls. Yeah. And then week after week, they were asking the managers to reset them up, and then it became reoccurring. They loved it. They bought in.
They're leading the motion to be on the phones. That is
yeah. And they were asking the manager, can we do more? Can we put them back on for the next week? And we liked them. And then they were listening to each other on the calls, hearing different scripts and approaches, live objection. And it was something so simple, right? Something I love to do. I love being in the bullpen together. But that collaboration, that peer-to-peer feedback, they went from 50% to 81 to 92, right? All to close out the year. Real big, strong bounce back. And even got 3 of those reps to get promoted. And this was a mix of new reps. They were just onboarding during the program to the seasoned reps that had been there for a year or 2. But everybody walked away with something. And that's where I found my passion to be. And I was like, this is what it was cool, man. It was one of my best customers. I did another one for 5 months. We did a 14-week program. They kept me on for campaign writing and some other things, but I was with them for 5 months. Sales enablement manager got pushed over to sales development manager. Very 2 different lanes. Sales enablement for an org is very different than thinking sales enablement for the SDR motion, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So a referral brought me into that one that was there as an AE and was like, dude, we're jacked up. You need to kind of talk to this person. So I reached out. She brought me in and we did 5 months. I literally helped her enable that org. Now she's back in enablement. They've got a director and straight up, she literally deployed Clay and AI workflows. And now she sees from a sales enablement perspective, what more can I do for my sales squad? I'm closer to that now. And Tom kind of showed me how this should run and where the roadblocks were. I've got a lot of work to do when I get kind of back to my old role. So it was just cool, man. And I want to do more of that. And so as founders, you got to find what you really, really enjoy and niche into it, trust it, but then go talk to people about that offer. 100%. Go understand why they're concerned. What are the no's for? And then find out where they are. And that's why I have a lot of guides now. I'll take 30 minutes to top it up with a sales leader. And then afterwards, if they're not ready to go, it's like, cool, I've got an enablement pack for you. Let me send it over via email. It's got a couple guides for you on cold call openers. I know you mentioned open rates, so I've got a couple guides in there on open rates, all on the house for you. I'm sending your way, and I'll send you those links. And let me know if those move the needle for you in the meantime. And then when you're ready, I'm here as well for that kind of bigger commitment. I can't tell you how many times that slow dripped for 2-3 months. They keep coming back to me for more questions. Hey, we just rolled out Meldoso. Did we do everything right in our settings? Like, can you kind of take us through that real quick? And then boom, 3 months later, they're like, Tom, we're ready. We have the squad up now. Everything's healthy. We want to get you in here to coach on a higher level. Send us over the terms and stuff. So it's just willing to wear a lot of different hats, adapt, go where your market leads you, listen, be naturally curious on how can I help you? If you meet with me, if you're hitting my website, if you're even interested in me in any shape or form, you're engaging on my LinkedIn content, if you're over there building your founder brand, how can I help you at any step of your journey? And when you start doing that, I promise you the results will stack. Before you know it, you're enjoying what you're doing and people are talking about you and people are bringing people to you. Hey, I know you might not be ready for his 20K package right now, but Tom might have some things for you in the meantime. Why don't you get a call with him and I'm sure he can unblock you or get you unstuck And best case scenario, he can come coach the squad. Worst case, I know he's going to help you out. Boom,
Yeah.
I'll get a DM and they're like, hey man, I was directed your way and I kind of can't get my team embracing the phone. Do you have anything for me? I sure do. I got a guide they can read. I've got a course they can take free of charge. Let them kind of get that confidence on the phone. I got you. Right?
Yeah.
So a lot of things of the founder journey, but I'm in 3 years now. Like I said, 45 customers in total now. Kind of went through a couple versions. And I tell people all the time, do I think in 20 years SD Lab will still be standing in the name that it is known for? I don't know. But I do know I'm a builder and I'm going to have a business. That's what I do know. And whatever that turns into, great. I'll follow the journey. I don't talk a lot about religion or politics, none of that noise, but I do have that focus, right? That God will take care of me and lead me down the path that needs to happen. There's a reason I'm going through this 3 years and haven't necessarily been the $1 million founder that everybody thinks, or that LinkedIn will tell you, makes it seem as everybody just makes it.
Yeah.
I've probably done about 500K in revenue in 3 years. So about $500,000 club, a lot of investment into the team, a lot of money poured back into the company to kind of get to where I needed to go. But now I have clarity. I have direction now. I'm going all in on the B2B sales org training, helping organizations book more meetings and kind of get an understanding of the top of the sales motion, leveraging AI in the right way. Building a motion with the right tech that actually makes sense, right? Getting connect rates, writing emails that actually will get replies, not open rates. Who cares about an open rate? Are you getting replies? Can you get people to literally reply to your email? It's not about seeing it. It's not about looking at it. That's all great long-term and pipeline nutrition and stuff, but you want people replying. And then not only do you want people replying, you want positive. You want them to be like, yes, John, I would love to meet with you. Hey, John, yes, send that over to me. Yes, John, we were just looking at XYZ competitor. What do you got? They're positive. They want to engage. And you want to drive conversations in email. Not meetings booked, not sales closed. You want to drive conversation. Get them engaging with you or downloading something or wanting you to send them something. And that's where these gives come into play and understanding your market. They're lead magnets, right? Of like, how do I get you into my ecosystem? How can I start here and get you to come here with me, right? It's just like a product-led motion, even as a service-based business, right? You always can go to a product and at least get a 14-day trial or a free trial, their product is free all the time on a base level, but guess what they do? They grow with you. They tap you into other elements to where you're burning through credits and you're like, well, now I got to go to the pro plan, damn it. I got to go up.
Good old Clay.
Good old Clay. You got to burn the money, right?
Yeah.
And you won't even realize it because you're so invested in the value that it's giving you that you're using it. And of course you're going to pay because you need it. You're using it. It's giving you the wins. So how can you do that as a service-based business as well? Find your levers, find your layers, build an ecosystem and let it be owned media by you. Get them into your funnel. And so for me, I've got the SD Lab flagship program. I have my newsletter. I have my LinkedIn network. And now I have my own community that I relaunched, the Outbound Underground, right? Nice. So now through all that ecosystem, now it's building the content to then drive to all that. So literally throughout the entire ecosystem of the buying journey, whether you're a first-time SDR manager, a seasoned, you're a VP of sales, you're a CRO, or you're an SDR, and you find me, there's levers for you to get to know who I am, help you in some way, find that win, and eventually you will enter my ecosystem and move and grow with me to where you get to that 20K package.
And I think one of the there's so much we can talk about in there, because one of the things that I would love to talk about is when you said that it took you a while to get your first client, right? Like we all, I think, kind of come into it thinking like, oh, I'm good enough at the thing, right? So I'm a sales guy, it's not going to be a problem. I'm a marketer, it's not going to be a problem, right? I'm a product person, it's not going to be a problem, right? And then like the audacity of that, right? Of just showing up and thinking that being good at the craft, at the thing that you're good at, that you're hanging the shingle is enough, right? Did you have like struggles during that initial time of like, man, I'm because I struggled with this a lot, right? Of, man, I'm in sales, this should be easier, this should be clicking, why isn't this clicking? Did you have any kind of weird like identity crisis around the lane that you were in and the craft that you practice?
It was interesting because yeah, it took me, 90 days. I'm an outbound guy, so it wasn't as tough because
Mhm.
I literally ripped the phones just like I did when I first scaled my SDR teams from
Yeah.
zero. I was the hire. I knew how to build the pipeline to get the hires, right?
Hmm.
And so I just bullied my way through, but a lot of it was I just need to talk to as many people as I can talk to
Yeah.
and kind of figure out what they want. I'm
Hmm.
gonna pitch it and what I'm thinking, where I'm going, but I got hit with a lot of friction
Yeah.
of okay, Tom, I don't get it. What are you doing? What like help me understand? And I was like, oh, I'm not doing a good job. I'm selling the features, the benefits kind of thing, or the features part
100%.
of it, but I'm
Yeah.
not really piecing it together. And then a lot of them aren't like, okay, but why? What's the outcome? What's the investment? It was just clunky, right? Because again, I just left my job and I was thrown into it. I didn't
Yeah,
have
for
runway.
sure.
Sorry
And
to the founder,
the usual answer doesn't align with your philosophy, right? Because the
it,
usual answer for
yeah,
sales is just throw more people at it, just more, 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 right? So
yeah,
when you bring in the other axis of like improving the quality in whatever way, shape, or form that looks like, conversationally or targeting or however you're splitting that hair, it's probably not going to be the thing that they thought that they were needing, right? And so then we have to
yeah,
have conversations and alignment and like making sure because like, oh well, John, how good of a conversationalist do I need to be? I can talk good in my conversations. It's like
yeah.
how good are you? You know?
Well, and I always tell people it's always to the point with a lot of founders. It's like the cook who opens a restaurant. That
Mm-hmm.
I always say, you can make great food. People think they can bring their whole families together on a weekend through their food,
Mm-hmm.
and then they want to go open a restaurant. And
Mm-hmm.
6 months to a year later, guess what happens? That restaurant does not make it
Yeah.
because they know how to make great food, but they don't know how to run a business. And I'm
Yep.
sorry, y'all. Running a business is its own skill set and its own product and its own journey in itself. And there is no playbook for it. And there's a
Yep.
lot of mistakes, and all of us are figuring it out. Nobody knows pricing. People are chasing invoice for net 30, net 90 for some. They're not getting paid for the work that
Yep.
they've done because they didn't know how to bill, right? My first client, I'll tell you the truth, it failed. Cool, I landed it in the first 90 days, but it failed, right? I got
Yeah.
him in. I charged the invoice half up front, half on the back end, and I tied it to an outcome. Not the best thing to ever do. I
Oh
got paid
yeah.
the first
I've done
payment.
that too.
Yep, I got the first payment all great to get things going, and then I went through the entire 14 weeks as my original offer. I went through 14 weeks with half payment. Came to the end, they ghosted me and were like, "We're not paying." And then when I finally got a hold of them, they were like, "Well, Tom, you said we would get this
Oh.
X outcome. You fell short. We don't have to pay." And I was like, "Oh, okay." No, dog. Like, you gotta pay. What are we doing? Um,
Yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
and I had to learn that, and I was like, oh my god. And then I had to restructure things, and even to this day, it's really ironclad contracts for both them and me. Right? I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
out for their best interest, and I'm looking out for my best interest.
100%.
And you gotta really tighten that up because it's not just so willy nilly of exchanging cash. These companies will come for you. There are things that can happen. They will dispute charges. You will get paid and
Oh
then
yeah.
lose that money,
Oh
right?
yeah.
If in certain situations, I've heard the horror stories, and certain payroll companies will hold your funds. It's
Oh.
wild out there.
Yep.
Um, it's not America's not built for the world is not built for you to go out on your own as much as
It's
people
really
think it
not.
is.
Yeah.
That's why
It's a
it is
lot to
such a
figure out.
rarity.
Yeah.
And look, there's days where I have friends, family, people being like, just go back to work. You make more money doing other things, and I even think about it, but it's not in my DNA. And that's when you know you're built for the building your
Yeah.
own company because
And
you have to
here's
fall
the
in love with the journey, right? It's
yeah.
not about the outcomes.
But the other part, right? And this is something that I have to kind of like for us in sales, right? Going back is a whole other can of worms, right? It's not, like a friend of mine is a professional poker player, right? And so he's always like, well, if I decide that I'm done with this, I'll just go back to being a school psychologist. Okay, that
Yeah.
that's great, right? That's not how it works for sales professionals, right? Like,
No.
is the goal reasonable? Is the OTE there? Has it ever been sold before, right? So there's so many variables and chaos in the world of sales. Like, this is almost the easier path, You know what I'm saying? Like, which is like a weird way to kind of think about it. Because, like, what I tell everybody is that
Yeah.
if you can go talk to people, you have the easiest path to becoming a founder, right? So, all these people who are very smart but are fearful of rejection, they won't pick up the phone, they won't go talk to people, they can't handle the rejection. They just have to, like, take these big, huge swings at it and hope that it works because there's no connection to anybody that they should be, working with, So, it's just kind of this very interesting thing.
It's you gotta just love the journey of it all. You gotta love the process. You gotta love wanting to help. And I tell people this is the best 3 years out of my entire career. And I've went through layoffs. I've went through wins. I've been at the top of my game. I was at a company with a 30-person SDR team. Like, it was great. But this is fun. And I just talked to another founder about this too. You're gonna reach your goal and be prepared for what comes next. Because reaching your goal, I was just telling him yesterday, somebody told me this the other day I was complaining and I'm like, man, I want it to be where I want it to be. And they were like, okay, John, what if today everything you were looking for out of your company happened? You wake up tomorrow and you're in it. It's there. You're not ready. You're not built for it yet. And you have to be humble about that and go through. It is a rite of passage to be a founder, a builder. Go launch something solo. You will lose friends. You will lose family. You will lose money. You will be down to negative a bank account for a few weeks while you're trying to figure it out with people calling your phone, being like, hey, this bill's due. I know this bill's due. Dang it. I'd pay it if I had it. But you got to go through that journey.
Easy, right?
It's if it was easy, everybody would do it. Right? Go be a cog in the system. Go work a 9 to 5 and chase somebody else's dream, but don't be mad about that then. If that's what you enjoy, then that is a lane for you, and I'm all about it. I know a buddy of mine, that is his coasting through the organization is his gig. Loves it, doesn't mind it, makes his 200, 300K a year, and is a blimp on a big, nobody even notices him.
Yep.
He could just chill back. Hit the golf course midday, nobody notices.
Yep.
Cool. I'm not built that way. I have to have something to work for. I have the fidget. I have the twitch. I have my body moving at all costs at all times. And that's why I like the journey. And that's why I fell in love with it. I'm not really worried about the outcome. And I tell people, yes, I'm 3. I love that, man. Like, I tell people, I'm not making great money. I'm not where I want to be, obviously. Yeah. But I'm the happiest I've ever been. I have more time with my family, my wife and my kids. And I generally am good. It sucks. I want to do a lot more. I want to be on a plane every weekend doing something. I want to go spend money at any given whim, make $50,000 a month, and not have a care in the world. But I've also never lived that way. I've always been the grinder, the sheer wheel.
Yeah.
Right. And I got to go through the hard stuff. That's my journey. That's what I'm here for. I go through the hard stuff so I can give back to those that don't have to go through the hard stuff. Right. I know that. But I fall in love with it, man. It's just what I love to do. And if I do reach that top of that Mount Everest, am I going to be good when I get there, or am I going to be bummed because, okay, I got there, now what?
Oh, man. I know some people
because you have to be prepared for that. You can hit the 100 million, man, or the $5 million a year. I've had people literally build their business in the first year and a half and cook me and do 5 million in revenue just so quickly and so effortlessly, and they found their niche. And then they go back to work, or they call it quits and they shut it down.
Yeah, because they reach here, right? We don't see all that stuff on LinkedIn, right? When they're showing up and they're posting and talking about how they're going to take over the world and everything, and then they finally go back to work. And like, that's not even a negative judgment, right? If you're better inside of an org, then go find a really great org that's worth your time and everything. But I know those people, and some of them have built businesses that they hate, right? They feel hostage, right? Yeah. And then it's like, man, you did all of that, and like, this is all you have to show. Like, that sucks worse. Right? I'd rather do something that is important and I'm excited to do every day,
For pennies on a dollar, it's the question that everybody asks you. If money wasn't part of the equation, if the world shut down the currency, what would you do for a living? Truly, I'd still do this. Yeah, I would be here. Yeah. I'd still be at my desk. I mean, I'd have a little bit more freedom and I would do things, but I'd be here. I love it. I love outbound. I have a passion for it. I love the craft. I'm a sales guy at heart, have been for 18 years. I enjoy it. And it's always evolving. There's always a goalpost movement. There's always something. Yeah. The board always resets to 0. There's always something to do. I couldn't do those jobs where it's just click a button every day, Same thing for 32 years, kind of then
I
and there.
love this because my motivation is completely different, right? Like I didn't come into this because like I wanted the excitement or anything. I just wanted to limit my risk, and I wanted to do it in a way that aligns with the things that were important to me, right? Because the thing that would be frustrating is I'd be selling and we'd be coming up on the end of a quarter, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, like go close as much as you can, okay? But if it closes on January 2nd, like what happens then, right? Especially if I get to maintain the relationship, you know? And so it would be this weird, like I'm a very regimented, kind of rigid person, you know? And so like I just don't like it whenever things move on me, right? So it's like go build relationships, go build relationships, and then close the deal, close the deal, close the deal. It's like, well, wait a minute, right? Like, you know, and so for me, it was just reduction of risk is kind of where it came from, you know?
That's fair.
Because like I'm not really built for this. Like I just wanted to have something that I could do my way that had some consistency and some longevity, and kind of feel like I wasn't getting kind of ripped around, you know, by like a cape, if you will. Because that's always kind of what it felt like in most of the teams.
That's really interesting, man. And that's the thing is, right, if everybody just kind of finds their reason, their why. And I think that's what it comes back to is just, again, fall in love with why you're doing it. So when those days 100%. Get hard and when those days aren't going in your favor, and that imposter syndrome that I swear to God will not go away. I don't know when it does. I'm hoping in time. But it is it is a personal journey that you can't write, you can't replicate, you have to have the stomach for it, and you have to have your why for it, because I'm telling you, it gets lonely. It gets real lonely. I've watched people lose their spouse. I've watched people lose family and friends. And
it's too easy to do it to yourself, right? Like,
that's it. Yeah.
There's this weird thing of, well, no one else knows what this is like, you know, and it's like, that's absurd. Like, don't do that to yourself, right? Like, go find a good pocket of entrepreneurial community and surround yourself with other people that are doing these things, because it's always easy to be like, well, mine is different. Okay, cool. You're creating solitude for yourself, and no one performs better completely by themselves, right? Instead, lean in. How is this like my business? How are these two things similar, right?
You got to find a synergy and that integration, right? Of you got to integrate your life with your business, and it's about 100%. Building the lifestyle you want and working that business around that, right? And I have friends who don't work Mondays and Fridays because that's the life that they wanted to build for themselves. That is integrating the work-life balance, you know, theory that everybody has, and you just got to find what works for you. Like my wife knows I can be up till 2 a.m. lost in my work. If I didn't have wife and kids, I'd probably be a hermit crab, and I would be deep in it. But I don't, because I have to balance, right? But like people are like, Tom, you're always busy, or you're always working, or you know, you're always 16-hour days, and it's like, no, not really. I love what I do. I'm not worried. Like there's always something to be done, and I'm still making time for the right pieces, but I'm obsessed. I'm in love with what I do. I'm sorry if that seems that I'm a workaholic, but it's not. I love what I do. You want to go horseback riding every day, you know?
I think there's some people who sell themselves on that, right? And before I found my lane of really leaning in and, you know, like making it my craft and everything, when I would hear people talk about that, I thought that they were just lying to themselves, right? But now that I get to do this thing that I am, you know, passionate about, I'm excited about, right? And I love whenever I'm talking to someone and their lights come on, you know, kind of mode. It's like, oh, I get it. I just wasn't grown up enough to realize that some work isn't really worth doing, right? I was the closed off person in those modes, right? And just being cynical and kind of jaded and everything. And now it's like, all I want to do is surround myself with like other nerdy people who love what they do, because what it does is it just creates this like space for me to get even more nerdier, right? And that's where all the greatness and the growth comes from, at least for me. Like the minute I start getting bored, it's time to go back and start learning something new and pushing myself.
That's why I like this journey, dude. I was the guy who couldn't make it past the job 16 months, man. My longest run was 3 years, and I was so proud of myself. It was a huge deal when I looked back, and I was like, oh my God, I went that far. Because I never got fired or let go for performance, ever. I've never failed at a job of doing what I needed to do. I'm a great hard worker, and I can do that piece. My problem was I got bored. I started messing around. I started taking days off. I started dicking around because I was just not getting engaged anymore, because I, again, wasn't in love with the journey so much. I was just in the result that when I got there and I was like, okay, now it's been 18 months, 16 months, I've hit quota every single month. You're not promoting me. That's not in the cards because I'm not even ready for that, right?
Yeah.
Even though you're telling me no, I believe I'm not ready.
We start buying out a little bit, right? We start looking for ways to get the ease and everything. And like, also, I think that as salespeople, like one of the things that people don't understand about this job is that like part of what you want is someone who is looking for long-term ease, right? Looking for those one-to-many plays and the bigger partnership deals and everything. Now, if you go for it too soon as a sales guy, then everyone thinks you're not doing your job, but that's a whole other conversation. Tom, I want to respect your time.
Yes, of course.
I've got some questions. I think we could probably nerd out for like a week and a half just on sales stuff.
Yeah, fire them off. Fire rapid.
What is the lesson you have had to learn the hard way, right? Like maybe now when you think about it, you can see all the mantras and the dogmas and the people who were trying to help you along the way, but you couldn't hear it, you couldn't see it. You had to go through the pain of trying to do it a different way and then learning the better way to do it.
I mean, that goes to my management career. Like I was just saying, I sat through every job thinking that if I performed and did what I was asked, I could get to the next step. And for the first half of my career, man, I got told no all the time. Nope, you're not ready for management. Or they would just feed me a pity interview to get me in the cycle and I would lose it out to somebody. And it infuriated me. I would jump companies. I'd be pissed off. I'd buy myself out, right, and not show up. Now, as I look back, and I've even written an article about it at one point of just, I get it. I was absolutely not ready to lead.
I remember those days,
But I bullied my way through or lashed out or threw a fit because somebody told me no. And I thought that I did what I needed to do. And yet not get the feedback to tell me what to do. Or even if I did, I wasn't truly listening to what they were telling me. I was just frustrated. So that kind of went to building my business too, of that first year not listening and bullying my way through in something I believed was the way to go, but I wasn't winning in that way. So I fought and caused friction. So my biggest lesson at this point is truly start listening. And I know it's hard, guys, and I know it's hard to slow down and step out of it, but find whatever that is for you and just listen to what things are being said around, like what the ecosystem is telling you around you.
Take the feedback.
Friends, family, take the note. Like, it could be higher power, it could be the universe, it could be protons and neurons. I don't even know what it is, but there is a clear something. If you truly listen and open your ears, you'll kind of get the signals and understand where you need to go. So if you're finding this friction point, listen, step off the friction. Stop for a second. Just step off of it for a second and listen. You'll find that it's probably for the better good at the moment, that's why that friction is there.
I love that answer, man. That's really well said. When you're thinking about outbound, specifically being an outbound guy, what is the one tip that you hope founders kind of can hear and listen and take action on being an outbound guy?
Kind of goes back to the first one again of listen to your market, like understand and truly understand what's working. Take the data, digest why people are buying with you, if they are, and if they're not, why are they not? Ask. Go back to the people that told you no after a few weeks and be like, look, John, I'm really just trying to learn here. I'm not trying to pitch you. You already told me no, that's fine. But can you help me understand what about it didn't work in your favor that I can make it better for the next person in my sales funnel? You'll be surprised at how many people will be willing to talk with you and kind of be able to give you that feedback and say, hey, it really was just the way you presented this, or this other deal was just 50% cheaper. Dude, I don't know what to tell you. You did nothing wrong. It was just they were 50% cheaper. Our boss said to go that route. Okay. Right? Then kind of look at your pricing structure. Not that you have to. Sometimes there is a reason. Wrong ICP, wrong market. Yes. I'm not saying that. But just be listening, right? And if you hear it more and more times, take that feedback. So I think for founders right now is you're very technical. You love your baby. You're very protective of your baby. You're trying to get into the market. You're trying to build that motion. Just listen. Kind of figure out where things are going. And then if you're already in that perspective, really lock in your process. Document. Get the data, really break down what's working. Why are customers keeping you as a line item? Where are the objections that you're hearing and how do you overcome them as the founder? You have a very unique founder story, but that does not translate into your seller story. You can't. It does not. Yeah. Founders have a leg up if you can leverage it the right way. You do have a good story to move your product, but it is going to flip once you get a sales rep in because they're not the founder. And I'm going to be real honest with you. They're not bought into your company, buddy. They're just not. They're not. I don't care who you hire. I don't care who it is. You can even think it's your wife that you hired and she's rallying behind. No, she's not. No, she's not. She has her own world, their own concerns. They're not going to be bought into the same belief, and so they have to sell a little bit differently, and it's not going to be that story, right?
Yep.
So document, process, build that playbook, and take your brain and build them that motion, but build it for them to go to market as who they are, and let them sell your product, and then also get the belief in it, because once they have the belief, that's when it shifts. Now you're not selling.
100%.
You're not
100%.
selling. I always tell people, my big hot take: if you're selling, you're doing it wrong.
Yep.
Just be honest. You shouldn't have to sell.
I love that.
I think if you're selling, you're not actually a salesperson, which is so weird to think about. But for those smart thinkers in the listening crew, I know you get it. It just means if you're selling, you shouldn't be. People should want to meet with you. People should want to talk with you further. You shouldn't be chasing and digging and forcing things. Is it part of the sales process in the outbound game? 100%. Not saying that, but really identify who to talk to. Really identify and go after people that want to be helped, that want to solve the problem you solve for. That's a prospect. If they're not in that, move on. Great. Yep. Nurture them. Take good care of them. Like I said, peel your levers. Try to find some ways to work with them, but move on. Yep. But find the people that want the support, and you won't be selling. They'll be like, 100%. Yeah, I'm exactly right there, John. Yeah, like you called me at the perfect time. How crazy is this? Like, tell me what's the next step, John? Like, forget all this other stuff. What's the next step? When can we meet? And they get to the point where they're asking you for the meeting, and they're like, yo, John, like, yeah, I'm in, man. What's next here? Kind of break it down for me. And you're like, oh, shoot. Okay. Yeah. So next step is we get 30 minutes. I take it. Great. Let's do it. I got Tuesday at 2:00. And you're like, wow, that was so easy. That's a true salesperson and a master of their craft is 100%. Good questions, digging into their market and knowing, and a consultative sale. As my founders, really embrace the consultative sale. You go talk to a financial advisor, an insurance advisor, listen to how they speak and how they present. They're consultative. They're asking really, really good questions. They're asking about your assets. They're asking about things before they even lay out a plan for you or even qualify you to be able to get access to that plan, right? Yep. We have to be a consultant and talk with our peers because they are your peers. If you're 100%. Really building your product for them, then you've got to be a peer. If they don't see you as a peer, they're not going to work with you because you're forcing a square into a circle. You're forcing it, and that's selling. That's not what we're doing here. If you're really aligned, it's not selling.
100%.
And you're finding the right people where it's like, hey, man, I can go call the right organization now and be like, I know you need me. That's why I called, right? And because here's the reason I know that. Because of XYZ, I've seen this. I've been here. I myself. How can I help you?
Yep.
Well, Tom, I don't need help. Great. So be it. I've got a couple of resources for you. Is there one thing you would switch overnight if you could? I know it's kind of running real smooth, but like, what's that one thing just kind of back of the brain keeping you up at night? Man, I just wish the team would learn how to use this damn tool or put their notes in. Great. I got an ebook for you on kind of empowering them to want to put notes in the CRM that breaks down the belief of that. I'll shoot that over to you. Done. Yeah. That dude might come back to me down the road, right? That person. But then I get the right person and they're like, Tom, yeah, I desperately need help. What would you recommend? Yep. Boom, I'm in. Well, let come into the doctor. I got you. Let me prescribe you and kind of take you through. So yeah,
we got to be deep enough to we have to be knowledgeable enough, deep enough, intelligent enough to drive some value in that first preliminary conversation, right? If they're only getting value if they're buying, you have no shot in hell of running a consultative motion because there's no value for you to provide other than like, hey, do you want to 10x your business in the next 90 days or less? Like. And then you want to be like, but we're not for everybody. We got to slow down and talk. Like, come on, it just doesn't work. So
it's too much work and too much barriers. And yeah, you have to. That's why I tell people really master your ICP. Really get in their world. If you built the product or the service, I would hope you're in that space because you know 100%. It, right? Yeah. Like, or you're being obsessed enough to know it, right, and understand it, so that when you do go pitch your solution, you know how to get to that solution or uncover that pain with them, right? Mm-hmm. Like. Because nobody's just going to walk into your store looking to buy a TV right now, right? You got to find what would break the TV to get them to come into the TV store, right? Absolutely. Super Bowl's on this weekend and the TV breaks. I may have not been in the market for a TV, but I am now. Yeah. Right? So you just got to kind of know their world, and then you get better. You're not sharing case studies anymore. You're sharing stories. Yep. Absolutely. Not a case study. Nobody needs a case study. But man, John, the power of my story I told about that org that I worked with, right? That's not a case study. That's a story. That's living it. That is, I have the tangibles. What lever do you want to pull in that story? I can tell you what it was, right? Like, and I can make you feel like, damn, dude. Yeah, Tom, my team's at 50% today too. I mean, if we could get to 92% by Q4, shoot, dude. Yeah, can I talk
That'd
to
be
you?
a game changer. Yep.
Right. So, that sells more than, hey, can I send you a PDF on a case study? Problem, solution, and, all that good stuff.
We help
Nah,
X
dude.
within Y within Z time frame. Do you want to have a meeting?
I know you're bullshitting. I know you're doing a marketing play. Talk to me as a human being and tell me what's going on and ask good questions and just talk to a human. And I know it's the most terrifying thing in where we're at in today, but I can't believe it. It shocks me. It's a person. It's people.
We get so lucky that we have been through this gauntlet, through this catalyst, right? Because, it's kind of that line, like, apple a day keeps the doctor away. Like an uncomfortable ask every day is just going to make you really good at being curious and asking questions and getting what you need and being able to spend your time well. But we're lucky in the fact that our lane required us to, like, earn the attention, earn the focus, and everything else like that. And a lot of people, you hit the lane as a subject matter expert, you expect to be heard, you expect to be listened to, and then you don't enable it, you don't earn it, right? And it's just so easy to get dismissed. Last question, Tom, and then I'll let you get on with your day. What if someone is starting today as a founder? What is the one piece of advice, or what is the one warning you would give them to kind of just make sure that they're on the right path, no matter what it is they're doing, whether coaching or running a different kind of business? What's one piece of advice?
Always be prospecting. Coming from the outbound guy, it's the hardest challenge. It's the hardest thing to balance. Worse than work-life balance, in my opinion, is balancing sales pipeline and execution. Because as you get going and as you're getting going, you're going to be thrown a lot. You're going to get that first client. You're going to have to deliver. You're going to have to balance everything. And then on top of that, keep the pipeline going at all times, right? You have to do outbound. It's not just first year, you're going to go great. Referrals, network's going to come through for you. You're going to think you're on top of the mountain and you're going to milk it. Year two, it's going to get real. Year two is going to get real quiet unless you really master I guess my one piece of advice is not always really be prospecting, but take care of the people you do close. Master that. Okay. Because if you're always prospecting, which is good, you're going to have good client stories. You're going to have good reason that people want to work with you. You're going to have referrals to drive them to, but always be moving the pipeline. And the best way to do that is literally lock in with every client you close. I'm dead serious. Don't be chasing dollars. Don't be trying to stack results. Master every single client, because the best thing you can do, and what helped my business for a good minute, renewals, long-term growth with that client. The number one rule is if somebody gives you their credit card once, they're pretty much locked in. Once you ask any major organization to break down their revenue, majority of it comes from the top 25% of their company, their clients. That's what's making them money. It's not they're having up and down quarters, all this. It's that 25% that are locked in that are keeping them alive and keeping them money. So my one piece of advice is, as you start closing and interacting, just master doing damn good work for each client through and through. Do what you say you're going to do, follow through, communicate with them as much as possible, keep that feedback loop, and do the best that you can to master your flagship offer within that customer. Because the longevity of that, man, referrals will stack on stack. Your pipeline will continuously grow. You'll move and grow with that client. They'll want to stay with you and keep renewing. But just make sure your experience per client is top notch and master that. And I promise you, revenue will be just fine. People will brag about you. People will talk about you. That will amplify you more than anything you could hope for, is doing good work for the clients that are saying, you know what, John, I'm going to take a shot on you, man. I know I'm your first client, but you know what? Let's do it. That first client is going to teach you everything, right? And be the best thing ever. And 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, you will always remember the first person that gave you that yes. And then the ones that follow and believe in the belief. So if they can believe in you, then you need to believe in them and give them the best experience possible. And that will lead to long-term success.
Epic. Tom, if people want to keep up with you and follow you on your journey, where's the best place for them to come hang out with you?
The Outbound Underground, my community. It is free to join. It's for SDRs, AEs, BDRs, sales leaders. It's everybody top of the funnel. It's the Outbound Sales Dojo, right? But we call it the Outbound Underground. It's on the sdlab.com. So hit my website. It's under the Underground. Or make this really simple, y'all. Just hit me on LinkedIn. I will be considered your future sales homie-in-law. as I call it, and hit me a DM. And happy to chop it up, answer questions, help you out in your motion. Like I said, I have layers to pull. I can help you in some way.
Absolutely.
But yeah, LinkedIn, best place to start, and then we can funnel from there to different things that I can help you with.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I thank you for sharing so openly and honestly, man. It really means a lot, and I think this will help a lot of people.
Amen to that, man. I appreciate the time. And to all you listening, I appreciate you tuning in for this long and having to listen to us jam out. But hopefully, a lesson or two is in there.
Absolutely. Cheers.